Good morning, gamers, and welcome into the Gamers Roast podcast. I'm your host, Joshua J. Alongside me, my co-host, Wesley Lance.
Good morning.
And today is Thursday, August 12th, and we have a lot of stuff to go through. Super excited to talk about some stuff. More Battlefield 2042.
But it's not sick of it yet.
Right, but they keep coming out with news, so we're going to keep on giving it till there's none left to give, which will probably not be till it comes out. So,
and even then.
Yeah. So let's get started with the coffee of the week.
We got some Baileys this week.
Yes, sir.
Non-alcoholic Baileys.
I know, it sucks. I mean, it's good that it's non-alcoholic.
It actually looks really good.
I mean,
not
who
gonna
needs,
lie.
Who needs alcohol at like 8 in the morning?
If
anyway?
you need alcohol at 8 in the morning, we got a different podcast. It's a very different show.
But it's a non-alcoholic Bailey's salted caramel cold brew. So yeah, let's try it.
I'm excited for this. I've never had anything with Baileys before, so.
I love that noise.
There we go.
Love it.
I got it open.
All right.
That's not what I was expecting, actually.
I'm not a big fan of salted caramel.
I really like salted caramel, and it tastes like salted caramel, but there's another flavor there, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it tastes really, really good. I'm actually surprised. I was not expecting to like it, but I do.
It's weird. I don't like it when I first drink it. After I swallow it, I really like it. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
See, I like it. I don't really care for the aftertaste because it's too much caramel.
There's a lot of caramel.
But
there's a weird,
it's super smooth.
Yeah, it's super smooth. I actually think it has a better blend of cream and coffee than the Starbucks cold brew that we reviewed at the very begining, our first episode.
Right.
That was a little weak. This is still a little like, okay, if you're buying a salted caramel cold brew, you're not looking for the like V2 stuff that we did last week. But
right.
No, this is good for a sweet drink.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, honestly, I'm shocked by this, but I'd probably give it a 7 or 8.
I don't know if I'd go that high, just because there's like a weird, I can't identify the flavor when I first drink it. It's a weird, like offish. I wonder if it's like, I don't know. It's
the Bailey's type of.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like that's what Bailey's cream tastes like. I'd give it a solid 6.
It's
possibly a 7. It is good. It's not, but I've had better. I feel like I've had better.
Oh, right. I'm so shocked by the fact that it's salted caramel and it's something I enjoy. Because like I said, I don't care for the salted caramel. Carly, my wife, likes that a lot. And so she'll get it from Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, things like that. Every time I taste it, it's just too sweet for me. But this isn't too sweet.
It's not bad.
Pretty good. So yeah, there you go. Bailey's salted caramel cold brew. Go to your local whatever store, see if they got it.
Probably, yeah. Probably just about anywhere you'd need it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's coffee of the week. So let's get on to the roast of the week.
Yeah. So before I get into the roast of the week, I told you this beforehand. I was browsing through gaming news, just looking for something stupid to make fun of. It's not hard. But I did find possibly my favorite headline ever, which is this is the headline. If I get another pair of socks in Pokemon Unite, I'm turning into the Joker. I don't know what the article is about. I didn't read it. I almost don't want to because nothing can live up to that headline. But no, what I'm actually talking about this week is, I don't know. Have you ever heard of NFTs?
Yes. Yeah.
The stupidest thing in the world?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
unless you sold one for, what was it, like $20,000 or $50,000?
Well, leave it to Disney to do not $20,000 to $50,000. They're selling a Spider-Man NFT for up to the cheapest one is $40. The rarest one is $400.
Oh my God.
And for something that you don't actually own, how can you justify spending even $40 on it? Like, I feel weird spending $60 on a digital game because I really like having physical media. I can't imagine spending $400 on a digital Spider-Man figurine that, according to this article on Kotaku, looks like a PS2 cutscene. And I'll link the article in the description.
So what can you do with that?
You can put it on your phone and you can view it in AR. That is what you can do. You can put it in like, did you ever use PlayStation Home back when that was a thing? It was like a virtual world thing that you could like make your own apartment in.
I've seen it, but I've never.
Yeah, you can like put it in like a virtual space and you can view it on your phone, which by the way, Google like has a ton of stuff that you can view in AR for free, not for $400.
Oh my gosh.
But people, okay, it would, and it's easy to like roast Disney and Marvel for taking advantage of people like this, which yes, you shouldn't. But also people are buying it because this is the way capitalism works is if there's a market, then if there's demand, then you can market it.
Yeah, well, it's.
And sorry, I don't mean to. That sounds anti-capitalist, but that's just literally like supply and demand is how capitalism works.
I mean,
there's a demand for this, and that's stupid.
You can sell anything. We are what make things important.
Yeah, we assign value to things.
Right.
We as
pieces
consumers.
of paper that we trade each other, we assign value. The number on that piece of paper assigns value,
and it means nothing.
Exactly. It used to be backed by gold, but it's really not anymore.
No, money is made up. So are words. So is everything. Sorry, we're weirdly existentialist today.
But it's true. It's true. You know,
and I get it. Like at the end of the day, you could make fun of literally anybody for selling something stupid. Like we buy so many stupidly necessary. We're a video game podcast for crying out loud. Like,
hey,
video games
don't diss the podcast.
I'm just saying, video games in and of themselves are so not unnecessary. It's such an incredible luxury to be able to spend our time playing games
and talking about them.
Like that's such a
roast of the week is us. You know?
No, but so it's easy for you could make the argument that literally like. Buying anything that's not necessary to your need is stupid. But I don't know. Spending $400 on a digital Spider-Man action figure that can do one pose, that feels kind of foolish to me.
Hey, if you got $400 to do whatever you want with, and that's what you choose,
give it to the poor.
Maybe they've
give
already,
it to charity, man.
Maybe they've already
Don't
given
spend
more.
it on a Spider-Man NFT. Don't spend it on any NFT because also NFTs are based on blockchains, which like kill the environment faster than almost anything else.
Well, hey, maybe it's someone like Bill Gates that is like, you know what? I got so much money that I can spend $400, and it's like spending less than 4 pennies.
Okay, but I wouldn't even spend 4 pennies on this.
I might spend 4 pennies on it.
I don't know.
Someone offered me one of those $40 ones for 4 pennies. I'll buy it.
Yeah. So anyway.
Then I'll sell it for a profit.
Find better things to do with your money. Don't spend them on NFTs.
I'm doing the thing by buying it for less and then selling it for more. If someone sells it to me for 4 cents and then I sell it for $40.
Yeah, that's supply and demand.
Yeah, I'll do it.
You're a scalper. Congratulations.
No,
You've elevated to a new level of
because I'm still
scumbaggery.
selling it for the actual price.
You just convinced yourself you just convinced someone to sell it to you for cheaper. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to get really worked up if we keep talking about this. The idea
of Bailey's isn't working.
The idea of NFTs is still the stupidest thing in the world to me, that you can spend real money to own something digital that in and of itself is like, we still don't know how to assign ownership of like digital art. Like that, we're still figuring out how copyright works in the digital age. True. And so this idea that you can spend so much money to own something that other people also can spend the same amount of money to own, I read a whole article about it because Geeks Under Grace, the group chat, was talking about it a while back, and they linked an article. And I said, I've read this entire article, and I still have no idea what's going on, but it sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. And somebody said, it sounds like you've understood NFTs really well.
What if we made NFTs for the podcast and used them on Patreon?
You can own an episode of the podcast that you can listen to for free and that other people can also own. So you don't even have exclusive ownership, but if you give us $300, we will give you a little line of code.
300. This is episode 4. This is worth 400. They get more expensive every episode.
Every episode is $100.
You can get episode 1 for 100, but if you want episode 4, that's 400. And then our specialty episodes of Christmas and Halloween and things like that, those are going to be like thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting now on the ground floor. If you guys want to get in on this, it's going to blow up.
Newsflash, I figured out the taste in the Baileys I don't like. It kind of tastes like alcohol a little bit.
Huh.
It tastes like old fruit.
Interesting.
Just a bit.
You know, I feel it working. The non-alcoholic.
The non-alcoholic alcoholic.
All right. So moving on from roast of the week. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But before we get to Battlefield 2042, I want to talk about PSVR 2.
Yes.
So they just released a couple photos, which I'll have a link to the article in the description below, of what the controllers look like and things like that. They actually look really cool.
The picture never loaded when I was looking at the article, so I don't actually know what they look like.
So they're kind of like almost like the Oculus Quest type.
They wrap around your hand a little bit.
Right. And so I think they look pretty cool. And the article that I want to read from real quick is by Matt Purslow at IGN. And he says, Sony has reportedly expressed a desire to focus on console-quality AAA titles for PlayStation VR 2, rather than continuing the VR experience style of games seen on the original PSVR. YouTube channel PSVR Without Parole reports that Sony recently held a private event for potential PSVR 2 developers, where the company said that it would like to move away from VR experiences and focus on console-quality AAA games. Sony reportedly plans to achieve this by creating a hybrid of games that can be played both in VR and standard on screen. So similar to how they said IO Interactive created the optional VR mode for Hitman and things like that, they want to do that a lot more with a lot of better variety of games, which I think that they'll be able to do, because if you read down more in the article, which you guys need to go read this again in the description, it's a great article. They talk about the display panel inside the headset having a resolution of 4,000 by 2080 pixels and a field view of an angle of 110 degrees. So that's 10 degrees more than the PSVR original. So it sounds like it's going to be a lot better visually.
Yeah.
So, and they also have haptic feedback in the actual headset itself.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. But
I have mixed feelings about it, because part of I'm not super big into VR. My family had an Oculus Quest for a while, and I played it for a little bit, and then I guess the novelty wore off eventually for me. But part of what I've always liked about VR is the unique experience. Like the fact that playing Tetris Effect is something that you can't get anywhere else. Or playing Super Hot VR is a completely different experience than playing Super Hot on console.
Right.
And so this idea that they're going to be basically creating what sounds to be like almost side modes to console games that are like VR equivalent, I don't know. I feel like that's going to take away from, unless indie developers keep doing what they're doing, which I hope, which they will. I mean, indie developers will do whatever they want, but like, I don't know. Like the VR, like you and I played the VR Playroom a while back, and I thought that was actually a lot of fun. Because that was a PlayStation exclusive.
Right.
PlayStation created the VR Playroom, and I feel like that we're not going to get that, because now we're just going to get like Spider-Man V, which Spider-Man VR could be cool, but like it's going to be like a side mode to the full game. So the reason I'm saying this is because Nintendo tried something like this with the Nintendo Labo. You could get a VR headset that you slid your Switch into, and it turned it into like a headset. And Breath of the Wild, Smash, and Mario Odyssey had little options on the main game that would let you play them in VR. And it was really weird because like you still held the controller, and it just looked like you were like looking at Link and Mario from like really far away, and you could like look around. And I'm a little worried that I don't know that that's what Sony would do, but that's been my experience with like VR versions of AAA games, is like a little side mode that is, which then, but counter argument is you have Skyrim VR, which is the entirety of Skyrim in VR.
So, I mean, if they can make stuff like that work,
right,
you know, like, because that's what they're saying, AAA titles that can be played both VR or non-VR. So I'm assuming it'd be similar to Skyrim, where you can have the whole virtual reality experience, which getting smacked in the head with a sword and having that haptic feedback would be kind of cool.
That's one word for it.
But I don't know. I'm interested to see how they do this, because when they came out with the PlayStation VR, they even marketed it by saying, this is not Ready Player One VR. This is not your end-all be-all VR. This is the Atari to the VR systems. So they came out and said, this is what it's going to be. They opened it up to a market of people that, you know, I would never get a PC and figure out all the specs to get all this VR headset and do all this stuff. But if they're like, look, you already got the console, buy this thing, plug it in, you're good to go. That sold me. And I went into it knowing that it wasn't going to be perfect.
Right.
And I knew it was almost like I got to play test it and figure out kind of the bugs, the kinks, and hopefully Sony has worked that out to where now with what we're getting ready to have, it'll be a lot better and closer to more of your Oculus Quest. The Oculus Quest really actually even blew out PSVR in terms of being able to be anywhere, just like, hey, just buy the headset and you're good to go. But the PlayStation VR didn't even come with controllers, and it used PlayStation 3 controllers. Like,
you mean PS4?
No.
Wait, it used PS3 controllers?
Yeah, like those Move controllers.
Oh.
They just reused those for the PSVR, and that's how they used PSVR for controls.
The Move controller is still one of the most bizarre designs I've ever seen.
So the fact that they're redoing the controllers, and they have haptic feedback and the resolution's better, I'm super excited to see what developers come up with. I know they're going to make a Moss too, which will be really cool.
A what?
Moss, it's like where it's like a 3D, I want to say 3D platformer. You're a mouse, or you're not the mouse. You're like a god telling the mouse where to go and navigating him up and down through this.
Huh.
Pretty sure that's what Moss is called.
Are you saying mouse? Like
Moss, M-O-S-S, I believe.
Oh, I thought you were saying like M-O-U-S.
No.
Which is also the title of a graphic novel that I've been meaning to read.
Now I'm going to look it up.
I can't spend too much time on this. I got so much other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's Moss. It's Moss PSVR. So,
I have never heard of that. Wait, that's a mouse?
Yeah, I think it's a mouse.
It looks like a pig.
No, it's definitely not a pig.
Yeah,
definitely
no, it's a mouse. You're right.
So that game, huge success. Actually, Brad Borden got the Quest, and he played through the whole thing. And he's not a big gamer.
Yeah.
But like that game, he was like, man, I'm dying to get back home and get into it. And I was like, you play games? He's like, I play that game. And he loved it. So he had the Quest and he played through it. So he's like, man, if they make a second one, I'm totally in. So some of these games, it makes even non-gamers able to hop in and play certain games. Now, again, with the PlayStation VR, you'll probably have to have a PS5, which now they're saying you might not get till 2023 for some people.
What a world we live in.
Sorry, that was a subtle brag.
It was not subtle.
It was not. So I'm excited. Like I said, PlayStation VR, the original, was more of a playtest, and we understood that. So hopefully this goes a little better. But speaking of playtests, dude, that segue though, or segue.
Okay. No one's gonna get that.
Well, we got it.
No, it's an inside joke. Anyway.
Battlefield 2042 had a playtest that got leaked. You've probably seen different articles about it. And it's supposed to happen today through Sunday. So they sent out emails to, I don't even know how many number of people, that essentially said like, hey, it's under strict NDA. You can't talk about it, but here's the email. And they gave a link to go sign up for the playtest, stuff like that. And of course, people leaked it. And I saw it on one of the articles and had the actual email list and everything like that, showed the times for it. And yeah, I mean, even I think there was a link that a buddy of mine was able to click on and actually sign up for the deal. Now, they're saying that unless you got the email, they don't think that you'll be able to get in.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's worth a shot. So if one of you guys actually got the email and you're in it, congratulations. You're one of the few.
You're one of the chosen ones.
You're not able to like have any video recordings of it, which people are going to do anyway. Screenshots of it, which people are going to do anyway.
Yeah, the idea of a public NDA is very odd to me.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's one thing if you're a professional journalist and a company makes you sign an NDA. Like,
right.
Your career is on the line if you break that thing. But like, some random gamer, some random Twitch streamer somewhere is totally going to be like, I don't care if I never get invited to another beta any other time. I'm going to get so many views if I stream this thing.
True. And so they will. So again, that's today. It actually starts, I believe, as soon as this podcast went live. So if you take a look at the screen, I'm just kidding. That'd be so cool though, wouldn't it?
It would be something.
Again, we get so many views just playing it on that TV. But we won't.
But we won't do that because we're good Christian boys.
Yeah, and we don't have it.
So. We also don't have access to it. So,
but hey, for those of you that got access, congratulations. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then my question is, what do you think that playtest entails?
I don't know. I mean, probably all of the stuff that we've heard, probably all of the mainly the multiplayer. They haven't said anything about a campaign, have they?
They're not having a campaign.
Yeah, so it's probably just going to be one or two game modes. Definitely deathmatch. I don't think Portal will be included.
No,
I think that's no.
That'd be cool though.
I think Portal's too big of a project to release quite yet.
Right. They said that should be at launch though, right? Portal.
I think so.
If not, that's going to be a huge blow to the game.
Yeah.
But I was hoping that this is when they could release what hazard mode is all about. Because supposedly it's still under wraps of what it is. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be similar to Warzone type of a deal, because they talked about a live service. So they talk in another article. Again, it'll be in the link in the description. Go to it. But comicbook.com has an article, and they talking about Battlefield supposedly saying that they're thinking about going free to play in some aspect. EA CEO Andrew Wilson said, quote, "I think that you should think about Battlefield as a service. What we're doing for the launch of this game is really revolutionizing and reinventing what all our epic scale warfare is in the context of gameplay. In addition to that, you've heard us announce Battlefield Portal, which really starts to lean into user-generated content and will drive deep, long-term engagement in the game." And they keep going on to talk a little bit more about it being a live service from here on out. So when I think live service, stuff like that, I think Warzone and Apex and Fortnite, games like that have, even if maybe a smaller entry of like $10, and then they have their battle passes and they have all that different stuff of like different downloadable content that you could have to have more fun, customize your characters, things like that. So I'm wondering if Hazard Zone is going to be their Warzone, quote unquote, where you can hop in and play Hazard Zone for free, and then if you like it, then you can buy the Portal and the multiplayer.
Yeah, it's like a tier list. Like you get to play for free, but if you buy the game, you get access to more modes. That wouldn't be a bad idea, actually, especially considering that every other like major shooter franchise has done something like that. It would make perfect sense.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think that it would really get people engaged into it and allow them to experience something that they might or might not like. And if they do, then they can drop the $70 on getting the full experience. So
$70, the fact that all of those games are going to be so much more expensive now.
Yeah, but when you think about it, they really haven't gone up in terms of price for a long time when inflation of money has gone up.
That's true.
You know, people are talking about how minimum wage is going up supposedly to $15 an hour. I mean, inflation, you're going to have to rise the price of certain things, you know, and games haven't risen for a long time price-wise for at least the past 2 generations of consoles.
Yeah, because PS3 games were $60, were they?
Yeah, I think so, because Xbox 360 games were $60.
Yeah, I know Wii games were $50.
Like Modern Warfare 2 came out at $59.99. So, I mean, it's been the same for a while.
I know Wii games were pretty universally $50. And then I think Wii U went up to 60. So maybe it was just an HD thing, because Wii was standard definition, whereas PS3 and Xbox 360 were both HD.
Got you. So yeah, I mean, it's been that way for a while. And so them going up, you know, an extra $10, it is what it is. But at the same time, these developers, if you like the game, if you want to support them, it's $10 more.
You realize that by the time we actually reach 2042, that means games are going to be like $100 a piece, right? Going by this logic. They're going to be 70.
Well, then if they're 70 for the next generation, that's 14 more years. So it'd be about 80 or 90.
Well, 2042 is 22 years away, 21 years away.
Yikes.
By the time your daughter is able to legally drink.
Oh, dang. By the time she's able to have a Bailey's. No. More Battlefield 2042 news. They don't have a campaign. So they're not going on this, able to have a bunch of lore into it and everything. So I started trying to figure out what lore leads up to 2042, why it's 2042, what happened. And they actually have, and I'll link this article as well in the description, they have some lore that you can go and find and read about. And I'll just read just a little bit of it, but it says, "A decade of chaos, 2031. 10 years is all it took to bring the world to the brink. Rising sea levels, collapsing economies, broken alliances, and the headlines keep rolling in. Right, October 9th, 2033, Hurricane Zeta, the world's first Category 6 storm. January 11th, 2034, global food fuel shortages spark second Great Depression. August 8th, 2035, European Union officially disbands following Germany's collapse. And then they continue to go on for a lot of just different.
Sorry, that feels a little too close to
I
home.
know, it's really interesting.
I miss the days of games being like, it is the distant future, the year 2050, and mankind has solved all of its problems and explored the stars. And they're like, in 10 years, everyone you know will be dead. I'm like, great,
it's like,
cool.
Well, this
Video games, yay!
But it's really cool. Like the more I read about it, the more I dive into the lore, it actually gets me excited to do this.
It does sound really cool.
It's more of like from a journalistic point of view is what this is looking at. And then they're leading up to I think it's like a 9-minute video, cinematic video, not trailer, but video that explains a little bit more into the world of 2042, almost like a movie.
Yeah.
Of why you're fighting, what team you're fighting on. So be on the lookout for that. I'm super excited for that.
It does sound really intriguing. I actually like the way it's bringing in like real world politics in the ways that like countries would work. Because the whole idea is, and if you read it, you'll see this. There's a group of people called expats who are essentially citizens of countries that no longer exist.
Right.
And they don't really have any citizenship. And so they're just kind of wandering throughout the world and no one really claims them. And also they don't really want to be claimed because they've lost all faith in government. And so they're kind of like used as proxy armies between world superpowers to prompt war. And it sounds very interesting.
So it sounds like a really good premise for a campaign. But I'm excited for the fact that they don't have a campaign with it because it almost leaves it up to you to decide why you're fighting. Like, why are you participating in Battlefield 2042?
Well, I think that's probably the reason that they did that.
And it's not going to speak to everybody. Some people don't care about the lore. They just want to hop in, pull the trigger on their gun, shoot some people, fly into a tornado and have fun. Me personally, I love story in games. So for me, I'm all over this. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to read all the articles. I'm going to watch the video. And I'm really going to go into this game and kind of role play my person in it just because that's what I like to do in games. So I think it's really cool the way that they decided to integrate lore into a game that doesn't have a campaign.
Yeah.
So, which I know Warzone and even though they have a campaign, Warzone kind of has its own.
Yeah, Warzone tried. I never was able to follow it.
Well, and then like Black Ops Zombies, they did really good at integrating a story. It's hard to follow.
The zombie storyline is the most convoluted thing in the world. Like how a first-person shooter from Activision ended up having the most convoluted storyline in any fictional media I've ever taken. I don't know, but it is. It's the most complicated thing I've ever seen.
But yet they have one.
They have one.
And it's cool. Apex has one, and there's just more cutscenes and kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of how Overwatch is. Like Overwatch has I've mentioned an Activision and a Blizzard game in 5 minutes. Anyway.
Hey, we're going to talk about them. We got to talk about their games. It's games. They suck.
Yeah.
Not the games, the
companies. The companies. But Overwatch kind of did something similar. They've got like a bunch of intro cutscenes for each of the individual heroes. And then they have like a cutscene when you open the game that like there's this whole backstory. But it explains nothing about the game because like the backstory is Overwatch was a group of heroes that like defended the world and now all of a sudden they're fighting each other and I don't know why. So maybe I haven't done the research I need into Overwatch, but.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how Battlefield does everything that they're wanting to do because they really have an opportunity, sadly with what's going on, Activision and Blizzard, to really take the gaming world by storm and make something great. So we're getting ready to end it here, but first I want to ask, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, so still plugging. I haven't had a whole lot of time to play this week, so still plugging along through Unbound Worlds Apart. Still working on that for my review. Still having a pretty good time with it. I've had a couple more of those moments where like I try the same part over and over and over and over. Like I think I spent like a good 25 minutes on one 2-minute section that you just had to run in one continuous. You couldn't stop. You couldn't think. You just had to run through it. And it took me like 25, 30 minutes of doing the same thing over and over. That wasn't fun. I've never liked that style of gameplay. Some people love that. Not my thing. But the rest of the game is still a lot of fun, good balance. And to the game's credit, those places are never like central to the gameplay. So like you don't have to, those are just usually secrets and like extra collectibles and that sort of thing.
I'm not a big fan of those type of games personally. I don't like the Super Meat Boy,
Yeah.
Cuphead. So I'm not.
Oh, I'm never touching Cuphead.
I'm not a big fan of doing things over and over and over until you either get lucky or you just figure out the right rhythm to it. It's not my thing.
It's not normally my thing either, but that's, again, not like the main gameplay style. The rest of it is much more exploratory, kind of puzzle platformer sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Which I actually love puzzle platformers. Like using the environment around you to solve environmental puzzles is always a lot of fun. So that part I've really enjoyed. I feel like there was something else I was going to talk about, and I can't remember what it was.
The Google game came back.
Oh, yeah. It was prompted by our podcast. You're welcome, everybody.
Boom. Did you end up?
No, like I said, I haven't had time to think. Sorry. Gotcha. I've had a busy week, so I've barely even had time to play Unbound at all. So I haven't been able to touch the Google game again.
Yeah, I beat it, so I didn't hop back into it. I have, though, been playing, speaking of Apex, my brother-in-law.
Interesting. I thought you didn't like Apex.
I played it for the first 2 seasons, and then kind of it got repetitive, so I fell out of it for a little bit, and just kind of, when Warzone came out, I really hopped onto Warzone with playing Warzone and just kind of leaving that one behind because it was a little more arcadey. I like the more, if you can call Warzone realism.
It's more realistic than Apex.
Right. So I'd been playing that, then just didn't really care for that. So I've been doing a lot of sports games, and my brother-in-law goes, "Hey, have you heard of Apex?" I said, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Dude, I've never played it before." I hopped in, and me and my cousin are having a lot of fun. And so I was like, all right, bet. So he's like, "You want to hop in with us?" So I did. In our second game of me hopping in, we got a win, which is great. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And it was his first win. He's like, "Let's go." And I was like,
okay, you and I need to play Apex again, because the only reason I'm not playing is because I have no one to play with.
Dude, hop on in.
Okay.
We could play some Apex. That'd be awesome. And the world in Apex is completely different.
Yeah.
Like, we go to hop in, he goes, "So what's different from when you were playing?" I'm like, "Everything."
This is a completely different game.
Literally everything is different. The entire map is, I'm like, he's like, "Where do you want to go? Where have you been before?" I'm like, "No, I don't know." Like, it was so new to even me because I've been out of it for so long. It was like a whole new, not necessarily a game, like the premise of it was the same. But like, I didn't know where the circles were. I didn't know how to, like, it just, but we got a win. They carried me to a win. I was cool with it. I got a kill and some couple hundred damage. Like, I did not have a good game.
Can I tell a brief story of my favorite memory playing Apex?
Go for it.
I was playing by myself one time. It's super depressing. And I did squads. So there were, it's a group of 3. And my two teammates were obviously friends, and they were chatting on mic. And me, being the socially awkward little bean that I am, turned my mic off, so they thought I didn't have a mic. So I was a completely mute member of this team, and they just nicknamed me Homeboy. And so for that entire run, I was Homeboy. And every time I got a kill, they're like, "Dude, Homeboy slaying!" And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but they're proud of me. So. That was my favorite memory playing Apex by myself, which playing those kinds of games by yourself is almost never fun, but that was kind of fun.
At the very end, you should just turn your mic on and been like, "Homeboy happy," and then turned it off, and they'd have been like, "Wait." Or
I should have tried to imitate Korg from Ragnarok. I can't do a New Zealand accent.
That would have been awesome.
Because normally for me, what happens when I try to keep my mic on is like, I'll get on and I'll be in a duo and I'll be like, "Hey bro," and he's like, "Hey," and then we will say nothing for the rest of the game. And I'll just be sitting there silence. Like, if I say anything, he's going to hate me. I was like, why did I say anything? So that's why I never turn my mic on. It's always so weird.
See, I'm the opposite. I always hop in and I'm like, "Yo guys, what's up?" And then nothing. Or you'll have one guy just screech at the top of his lungs and you're just like,
"It is Wednesday, my dudes."
That's pretty much what happens. So I tend to not talk anymore just because I don't want to hear them. But if they sound cool, then I hop on, and like if they would have been calling me Homeboy, I'd have been like all over it, been like, "Bet," and I would have just started.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
So, but hey, that's me, and that's how I am sometimes on games. I'm a lot more outgoing on games than I am in real life, but
I'm kind of the opposite. I'm not that outgoing in real life either, so you can imagine what I'm like online.
Well, hey, that's been the show today. Hope you guys had a great morning with us. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Again, just get through today and tomorrow. It's the weekend. Play a lot of Battlefield 2042 if you got the playtest invite. If not, watch a lot of it because I guarantee people are going to be leaking it all over the internet.
Yeah, I don't know what they're expecting.
Right. So have a great weekend. Drink lots of coffee. Play lots of games. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Have a good one.